And if it wasn't for Jim Rohn, I wouldn't be here today. He found me in my early 20s. Maybe you're like me. When I first got started, I only had $100 to my name. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what mentor to hold on to. Things fall into place if you're willing to be the person that's gonna do the work. When I got into a situation where I started producing, and I was already reading the Jim Rohn books, I was already watching Jim Rohn at our big conventions, I was rereading all of Jim Rohn's books and videos and audios and everything. I mean, his mindset became my mindset in regards to business. And then when I got the opportunity to fly around the world with him in my 20s, Jim Rohn was the same guy off camera that he is on camera. Behind the stage, he was the same. But the bottom line is Jim is the same on and off stage. How did you get to know Jim Rohn, and what was it like being with him? And for those of you that don't know, I flew all over the world with him, spoke in front of millions of people, not at the same time, sometimes, but we were always behind stage together. We were always on airplanes together, and we had a lot to talk about. And if it wasn't for Jim Rohn, I wouldn't be here today, because he found me in my early 20s. You see, a lot of times when you're in your early 20s or your early 30s and you start making a lot of money, your mind can blow up and you can do things that can take you down for the rest of your life. And I was lucky. I got into a big nutrition company and I started to produce big volume. And because I was producing volume and I was super young, I was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I just had a lot of energy and I was out producing everybody. So I started to fly around the world, helping open up countries, talking to big groups on how to get to work and where we were going as a company. So you got to understand, people always ask me, who is Jim Rohn? What was he all about? So let me just give you a brief background of Jim Rohn. Years and years ago, if you read any of his books, he talks about how he started out as a broke young man looking for an opportunity. But the day that changed his life, now he was 25 years old, he had a kid, he had a wife, and you guys know this famous story that he tells. He said the day the doorbell rang and the Girl Scouts said, "Hey, Mister, can you please support the Girl Scout?" And if you know the story, you know what's gonna happen next, right? And he said it was the day that I had to look him in the eyes and tell them I just bought the cookies down the street, even though he didn't. And he said he shut the door and he felt awful that he had to lie to the Girl Scouts. And he said what was even worse than lying to the Girl Scouts was that he didn't have $2.25 for cookies. And that was the day that he drew the line in the sand and said, that's it. I'm never gonna live like this ever again. So maybe you're like that. Maybe you're like me. When I first got started, I only had $100 to my name. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what mentor to hold on to, right? I didn't know the business know-how or the things. Things fall into place if you're willing to be the person that's gonna do the work. And see, that's what happened to me. I came out the gate and crushed it. I held on to my mentor / instructor in the company I was in. And when they said to do 10, I did 20. When they said to do 20, I did 30. Bottom line is I just continued to follow directions, and that put me in a situation where I was out producing everybody. So sometimes you got to understand there's a little saying that in the do comes the no. See, a lot of you guys want to know all about it first and then you're going to go do it. Or you've got a stipulation that I'm only going to do if this happens. Look, guys, let me tell you something about business. We're going to spend a lot of time together on this podcast over the next few weeks. If you're not willing to lock the door and throw away the key, things aren't going to happen for you, because you're going to always have a plan B, or you're going to always have something else you think you're going to be doing. And it doesn't work that way. See, you got to get really good at your work habits. You got to outwork everyone around you first. And then some things happened to you that I'm going to talk about today that Jim Rohn taught me. But then what happened was, fast forward with Jim Rohn, he became a millionaire because his mentor, Mr. Earl Schoaf, taught him the road. And he was just like me. Jim found Earl taught him the roads, he did the work, he became a millionaire, right? Didn't happen overnight. And if it does happen overnight, you don't want to be a millionaire overnight, because you got to go through the struggle to get the victory, guys. If you don't get the struggle, the victory doesn't mean anything, you're going to lose your money. So the bottom line is Jim went through the struggle, got the victory, became a millionaire following his mentor, and guess what happened? He lost it all. Well, when he lost it all, it devastated him, but he got it all back over a period of time and became a business philosopher when he got all of his money back. Because when you're a business philosopher, you can teach other entrepreneurs that are going through the exact same process that he went through, that we're going through, and we can help you through that emotional roller coaster ride. Because sometimes you're by yourself, you don't know what direction to go, you don't know what to do, and it's really one of those things where you've got to really have faith on the fact that you are an entrepreneur, you're by yourself, and everyone's making fun of you. When I got into a situation where I started producing, and I was already reading the Jim Rohn books, I was already watching Jim Rohn at our big conventions, I was already taking copious notes, I was rewriting my notes, I was rereading all of Jim Rohn's books and videos and audios and everything. I mean, his mindset became my mindset in regards to business, okay? And then when I got the opportunity to fly around the world with him in my 20s, and of course I knew him in my 30s and beyond, right? Sitting there and then in the seat in an airplane going 8 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours, Jim Rohn was the same guy off camera that he is on camera. Behind the stage, he was the same. And I gotta tell you, I'm not here to sell anybody out, but a lot of people I went behind stage with that you think are dynamic people are train wrecks. Problems galore, alcohol, drugs. It's just like, what? Now, I'm not saying that, we're not all human and things can't happen, because they can. But the bottom line is Jim is the same on and off stage. He was amazing.